Navigation as a mixture of a science and requiring skilled people and requiring technology is a pretty interesting field. If we look back at some of the ways we managed to get where we are today, which is an amazing global aviation network, and think about the properties we needed, not just for technologies, but the attitudes of the people involved and how they overcame their problems. Maybe, just maybe, there are some messages in the future there for how we ought to be tackling the problems we're facing today. After the Second World War, the UK and some parts of Europe were seriously disadvantaged in aviation because of the propensity for fog. And airports like Heathrow just wouldn't have been able to grow up if we hadn't managed to crack what in the day was known as all-weather operation. And the ability to let an aircraft land in fog not only required some clever technology, but actually the pilots didn't like it because they felt that if you gave them magic glasses to see through fog, they could land themselves. Every bit of work which was done by the government and by industry said, but if they could see anything, it would be the last thing they could see because they couldn't react fast enough. So the story is a great one because it's brilliant technology, but also there's a slow slog there in the background of getting the technology acceptable and addressing things like pilots and their attitudes and unions and law and infrastructure and international standards. And it shows it's not just about technology and good ideas. The Royal Institute of Navigation has started an area we call cognition in navigation, and we're working with neuroscientists there, trying to bring scientists and technologists and practitioners of navigation together. And we're beginning to understand much more now about how our brains work and how clever they are at navigating. What I'm excited about is we've always had a bit of a tendency to talk about a human-machine interface or a man-machine interface and think about how we organize controls and buttons and displays. But from a systems point of view, and a really good example would be a road network where we have some cars with drivers in them and some cars without drivers, you've got to understand what are the properties a real human brings and what properties can be done by a machine. And they are very different, and we've got to learn those differences, and then we can start building systems which have got humans in them as well as computers. But that's an area which is really in its infancy at the moment. We just don't understand the issues. You do need, I think, some people with a big vision who understand how ideas get turned into real products, real services. These are well-rounded people who've, if you like, seen the process and understand how it works. And that's actually what the catapults have been born out of. Because people who have good ideas normally think the sheer cleverness of them will take them through to a success, and life isn't like that. So it's an overall process which needs a bit of nous. It can't be automated, but you do need some people, and I hope the catapults are filling up with these people, who've got this little inner voice which says, you know what, that looks like something which is going to work, we're going to back that. And in fact, the whole, I think, success of the approach of the catapults in time will show whether we've got those people around who just got the right hunches as to what to put the efforts into to get these successes. I think we'll have been amazing ourselves for several years, but about 20 years' time we'll have been amazing ourselves about how much more efficient and how cleaner we can make aircraft. I bet they're going to be quieter. But it won't apply to every aircraft because aviation does move fairly slowly. We've just seen an unprecedented buying spree from airlines at the moment, and those aircraft are going to be in service, a lot of them, in sort of 25 years' time. So if I was going to look for real changes, I think it will be on the ground. And I think we will realize just how optimistic we were about how to get people on and off aircraft without being much cleverer with the transport systems and doing more than gently encouraging people. I'd like to see a world where you can check in central London and the airline is then responsible for getting you on a train to the airport, and you would have a brilliant journey experience because the whole thing is timed and synchronized such that from the moment you get on that train, you are carried through to the airport, you're carried through security, and you've got virtually no waiting time. That sounds joined up and intelligent to me, and I think we're going to get much better at that.